Welcome back to the Forbidden Land podcast. Woo! I'm your host, Dane. Welcome back, everyone. Today, we are covering everything I haven't been able to talk about in almost 2 weeks. We are going to cover some news, talk about some cool stuff. One of the things that, look, big cliffhanger. I know y'all are waiting to find out. I did indeed survive the hurricane. Barely, apparently. Because a lot of other areas in my state did not survive the hurricane, which is not something I was really expecting. And parts of North Carolina got hit bad. And that's also something I wasn't expecting. So, and apparently there was another hurricane in the Atlantic that never made landfall. Hurricane Kirk. That one, I mean, what a nothing storm. But I think there's another one that's projected to come at the end of the month. But, God, what a devastating turn of events. A city in North Carolina has been in the news cycle a lot during all of this, where they're talking about it completely washing away. That's in addition to this, Chimney Rock completely washed away. And one of the most devastating parts of the story is that this bridge called the Rainbow Bridge got washed away. So yeah, this bridge with all these people's passed away pets, collars, got completely washed away. I mean, that's so sad. That's such a devastating. That's like a cemetery being washed away, and all your loved ones just get washed out into the ocean. I mean, that's basically the equivalent there. Oh, thanks, Local 12. But yeah, that's really sad. That was one of the more devastating things I've heard, but I've seen where so many cities are still completely flooded, no power, no internet, so little to no way to communicate to anyone outside of their area. One really horrible story occurred after the hurricane passed through, where a electrical worker was on I-75 southbound, entering the connector into downtown Atlanta, and it was near the North Side Drive exit, and a car slammed into the electrical truck. It was one of those trucks with those carts on it. Someone hit the truck and killed someone in the accident. And that guy was just trying to restore power to that area of northwestern Atlanta. So just an absolutely devastating series of events. And y'all know that I have a history of having certain little things that flick a nerve in my brain. If you watched earlier this year during the State of the Union, I lost my shit on Marjorie Taylor Greene over the Laken Riley, say her name to Biden. Marjorie Taylor Greene being someone who doesn't give a single fuck about stuff like that, doesn't care about Laken Riley, just wants to use her as a political punching bag, as a political football. And so that shit sickens me. And Donald Trump basically has been doing the same thing about the hurricane. Someone who just a few years ago, about 7 years ago, when Hurricane Matthew slammed North Carolina, North Carolina requested a set amount of federal relief The Trump administration gave them 1% of their requested relief. They also had a shit-ass response to the Puerto Rican hurricane response. And so I want to show you what he's been saying about Joe Biden. And not that I even like the Democrats. This is the problem. He forces me to defend Democrats when I really don't want to. And here's him just lying about the federal government reaching out to the governors of these states. The governor of my state as well, just lying about it. So let me pull up this clip.
We do need some help from the federal government. They have to get together, ideally with the governor. The governor needs to, he's been trying to get them, and I'm sure they're going to come through. But he's been calling the president, hasn't been able to get him.
I just spoke, the president just called me yesterday afternoon. I missed him and called him right back. And he just said, hey, what do you need? And I told him, you know, we got what we need. We'll work through the federal process. He offered that if there's other things we need, just to call him directly, which I appreciate that.
We do need some help from the federal government there.
This is what I'm saying, dude. And no one challenges him on it. Not a single person challenges him on it when he's making the speech. And it's like, dude, what is going on with the Trump campaign? Why are they allowing him? He's gonna set precedent that makes lying illegal, like completely. He's gonna set the precedent that destroys the First Amendment. Because he's just going to lie so much that lawmakers are just going to pass a bill that makes it a jailable offense to lie. So, and it's going to create like loopholes. Maybe that's his like secret plan. He just lies so much unchallenged. So much that debate moderators have to start fact checking the candidates. How does he get away with this? So much. He lies so much. Dude, his base believes more horseshit now than they did, than the Republicans would have a few years ago. And we're in the information age. And Trump just gets away with spewing lie after lie after lie all the time. And it's like, this is like little shit that he's lying about too, but like it's just enough where Republicans are literally saying right now, oh, what is the Biden administration doing about the hurricane response? They are doing things. Just open your eyeballs. I also another thing I've noticed with the hurricane stuff is people just straight up, I have to remove a bullet point, it's outdated now. People just straight up like did I really ruin my train of thought there? Oh no, I did lose my train of thought. I had a fire point, dude. I was cooking. I was fucking cooking. Damn, I can't believe I lost that point. But here, so Biden actually responded to what Trump said, by the way, which is kind of insane that he responded this quick. But
Mr. President and Governor Cooper, Donald Trump has accused both of you of ignoring the disaster.
He is lying. Let me get this straight. He's lying. And the governor told him he was lying. The governor told me he's lying. I've spoken to the governor, I've spent time with him, and he told me he's lying. I don't know why he does this. And the reason I get so angry about it, I don't care about what he says about me. I care what he communicates to the people that are in need. He implies that we're not doing everything possible. We are. And you spoke to the governor. I assume you heard the Republican governor of Georgia talk about that he was on the phone with me more than once. So that's simply not true, and it's irresponsible.
that right there is my whole point. Also, it's shocking how coherent that sentence came out of his mouth. Because what the fuck? I can't believe I could actually understand him. It blows my mind that people still listen to this fucking idiot. And like, what a pointless thing to lie about. he hasn't called the governor and all this stuff. It's like, why are you even lying about this? What point does this even serve you? Speaking of that, so I was looking it up to get my facts straight on the Puerto Rico response. A new probe, this is in 2021, new probe confirms Trump officials blocked Puerto Rico from receiving hurricane aid. So there you go. After Hurricane Maria in 2017, one of the deadliest U.S. natural disasters in over 100 years, according to NBC News, the former Trump administration obstructed an investigation. Oh, wow. They obstructed an investigation looking into why officials withheld $20 billion in hurricane relief from Puerto Rico. I believe the administration tried to claim some horseshit about, like, we were withholding funds because we don't want to, we don't trust them to handle those funds properly, which is like such a ridiculous thing to claim. But yeah, you can go read about that. It's just rich coming from the administration that does not give a fuck about hurricane relief. Doing this like sideshow of like, he hasn't called the governors, Yeah, I can't believe people let him lie the way that he does. I can't believe I lost my fire ass point. I was probably cooking some mean shit. You know what I mean? I was probably cooking up something good. So that's been the news with all the storms. We didn't get it too bad here. I mean, we had a lot of power lines fall and a lot of trees snap, but nothing crazy. It did flood a little bit, but nothing insane. However, I did think it was going to hit way harder than it did. Yo, I ain't gonna lie. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. I won't. Just for you guys. I will stay strong. In other crazy ass fucking news, so Israel has been launching missile attacks against Hezbollah, which we already know that's code for we're going to start bombing civilian areas until we can eventually kill a major leader of Hezbollah. And they did kill the leader of Hezbollah. Not without killing many, many civilians in the process. It's so weird that a country with the funding and backing of the United States doesn't have the military training or just the ability to not murder civilians when launching attacks against a terrorist group. It's so weird. You know. And so then shortly after that, Bernie Sanders said that he would push a vote to block weapons transfers, which would be the first time in U.S. history, according to this article, it'll be the first time in U.S. history that there will be a vote in Congress to block weapons to Israel. They claim that sending Israel weapons is a violation of U.S. law and opposed by a majority of Americans. Whatever. This is obviously for like policy purposes. But yeah, pretty important stuff, you know? Pretty important stuff. Senator Jeff Merkley from Oregon. It looks like these are all Democrats. The other Vermont senator, yeah, I'm pretty sure these are all Democrats. So yeah, pretty big deal. Bernie really being like, oh, y'all are gonna say I'm not going hard enough on ending the genocide. Oh, here's a fucking bill for you. Boom. I've been on the fence about Bernie Sanders for a while, obviously, because of his seemingly like lack of wanting to acknowledge what is going on in Gaza. But, you know, at least now, finally, almost a full year in, he's pushing for legislation. Actually, I think when this comes out, when does this come out? When am I going to put this out? If you're watching this the day it comes out, then yesterday is the 1-year anniversary of the October 7th attacks, and of course the event that kicked off the major, the event that kicked off the current genocide happening in Gaza. Like, you know, obviously there were things going on before that, and Israel has been destroying that area of the world for decades now, but that was the event that kicked off the current series of events. And yeah, I mean, this bill is just so late in the game. This should have been proposed a while ago. This should have been proposed at the latest. This should have been proposed when the ICJ announced they were going to file for arrest warrants on the prime minister. I mean, that should have been when this bill was introduced. You know, that should have been the moment at the latest. So we're already past the due date in my book, but that's the update on that. And so then Israel announced they're going to launch a ground invasion of Lebanon, which I've seen every article not phrase it that way, by the way. Like, every article has phrased it as like, oh, they're just going to start putting troops in Lebanon. It's like, why do we do that? Like, they do the same thing with the US, where like we're going into Iraq or Syria to fight ISIS, and they're like, you know, Obama putting troops in Syria. It's like, no, we're invading Syria and Iraq to go after a terrorist organization. That's what they're doing here. They're invading Lebanon under the guise of hunting down Hezbollah. And yeah, here's a clip from a Lebanese podcast that I found a bit interesting. And then I have a news clip, but here's a clip of a Lebanese podcast watching Benjamin Netanyahu's video that is supposed to be like addressing the Lebanese people, but it's in English. So like, you're only addressing like a small percentage of Lebanon, because obviously not everyone in Lebanon speaks English.
War is not with you, it's with Hezbollah. For too long, Hezbollah has been using you as human shields. It placed rockets in your living rooms and missiles in your garage. Those rockets and missiles are aimed directly at our...
We ain't got no garages in Lebanon, man. I don't know if you know this. I live in like a 2-bedroom apartment, man. There ain't no garages here, man. What do you think? So a few people have garages, but that's it. Not the people in the South. What are you talking about, bro? And why the fuck is this in English? You think this is aimed at Lebanese people living in the South? You think they're gonna watch this fucking video on their fucking phone on Instagram and be like, oh, thank you, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, for warning us and explaining to us why you plan on destroying our homes and burning our olive trees and ruining our fucking land. What is this, bro? Who's dumb enough to fall for this? Apparently the rest of the fucking world, bro. I don't know.
Our cities, war is...
So wonderfully said. So wonderfully said. Oh, the full episode. Israel is trying to kill us, but that ain't gonna stop us from dropping a new episode fully in English in case someone outside Lebanon wants to watch. Ooh, that's cool. Here's the episode if you want to go watch it. It's called Israel Wants to Destroy Lebanon. It's the Do Not Worry podcast if you want to go watch that. Pretty neat. Sadly, not a lot of views. I wish I had more. But it looks like a cool show. What have they been uploading recently? Oh, they're talking about the thing I'm talking about next. Alright. So after all of this, Iran... let's take a guess. What has Iran done? What did I talk about a couple months ago? What did I talk about a few weeks ago? I would like to ask the people, what have we all been saying? That the more Israel provokes these surrounding countries, they're going to get a response. And when they killed that Iranian ambassador, we all sat and waited, because what country would not retaliate? I mean, the US wouldn't retaliate because they're spineless, but what other country would not have a response? And so then, a few days ago, Iran launches hundreds of missiles into Israel, and they said that they were targeting military targets. Huge contrast to what Israel has been doing. Iran targets military targets, and they happen to target the Mossad HQ, which is in a densely populated area. And what does Israel and the Western media start doing? They start crying about Iran killing civilians in Israel, the needless slaughter of civilians. You could make the argument that, and the US says this too, but to a lesser extent, because we have more room in this country to do this. Israel disperses their military assets and bases and buildings in populated areas. A lot of people don't know this, how fucked up it kind of is in Israel when it comes to this, but not only do they have all these major military hubs in populated areas, but they also have like laws and doctrines in place to basically just say, yeah, fuck it, those people are gonna die. There's something called the Hannibal Directive, which means that if a group takes Israelis hostage, Israel will just not do anything about it, or they will try to kill the hostages. That way there is no leverage over Israel in any negotiation. And so yeah, they were all crying about this, and I'm like, what happened to the whole like, oh, we had to bomb these civilians because they're human shields? But then Iran targets one target that's in a densely populated area out of all their other targets. And all of a sudden it's like, whoa. Guys, what are we doing? Let's show a little bit of consistency here, guys. You know, no innocent civilian should be getting killed in any conflict. But for some reason, so when Iran does it, everyone starts talking about what a tragedy it is, how horrible it is that they would do such a thing. But then when Israel does it, oh, the terrorists are using human shields, we had no choice. I think I was saying this when all of this started about almost a year ago now. I was like, so when like bank robbers take people hostage in the bank, do the police just launch an ICBM at the building? Is that what we do? When a school shooter enters a school, do we just blow up the school? Is that what we do in response? When we were looking for Osama bin Laden and we found him, did we just drop a missile on that part of Pakistan? Or did we send in a team that specifically goes in and kills him with months of recon prior? You know, that's how you are technically supposed to carry out a military operation, not just flattening the entire region until you find what you're looking for. So, moving on. There might be a as the Biden administration keeps calling it, a wider war in the Middle East. a multi-front war, and I believe Biden is already sending troops to Israel, and I'm like, bro, throw the election to Donald Trump at this point. Like, that's what you're doing. You're just throwing it. You're throwing Kamala's chances away. The more you engage with this hostile liability in the Middle East, cut them off a little bit. Show some restraint. Like, make them show some restraint. Are you just gonna let them do whatever they want? Dude, they could launch a missile at Washington, D.C. And the White House would probably respond and be like, it's whatever. Hey, boys will be boys. I mean, that's literally the response they have to anything the Netanyahu government does. It's taking me way longer to take that sip. So the VP debate happened. Let's watch a little snippet of that. Hope I don't get copyrighted by CBS.
Tonight, with just over a month to go until...
Let's see what the beginning of this debate looked like. Get a little feeler.
Iran is weakened. But the U.S. still considers it the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the world, and it has drastically reduced the time it would take to develop a nuclear weapon. It is down now to 1 or 2 weeks' time. Governor Walz, if you were the final voice in the Situation Room, would you support or oppose a preemptive strike by Israel on Iran? You have 2 minutes.
Well, thank you, and thank you for those joining at home tonight. Let's keep in mind where this started. October 7th, Hamas terrorists.
Oh, come on. Yeah, that's when it started. Come on, Tim. Come on. Just say no. Just be like, no, I wouldn't really support that. That's a little risky. Come on.
Massacred over 1,400 Israelis and took prisoners. Israel's ability to be able to defend itself is absolutely fundamental. Getting its hostages back, fundamental, and ending the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. But the expansion of Israel and its proxies is an absolute fundamental necessity for the United States to have the steady leadership there. You saw it experienced today, where along with our Israeli partners.
Wait, what? Wait, whoa. Run that back. What did he just say?
Hostages back, fundamental, and ending the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. But the expansion of Israel and its proxies is an absolute fundamental necessity.
The expansion
for the United States
of
to have
Israel?
steady leadership there. You saw it experienced today, where along with our Israeli partners and our coalition, able to stop the incoming attack. But what's fundamental here is that steady leadership is going to matter. It's clear, and the world saw it on that debate stage a few weeks ago, a nearly 80-year-old Donald Trump talking about crowd sizes is not what we need in this moment. But it's not just that. It's those that were closest to Donald Trump that understand how dangerous he is when the world is this dangerous. His chief of staff, John Kelly, said that he was the most flawed human being he'd ever met. And both of his secretaries of defense and his national security advisors said he should be nowhere near the White House. Now, the person closest to them, Donald Trump, said he's unfit for the highest office. That was Senator Vance. What we've seen out of Vice President Harris is
that's a decent one to hit him on. That's a decent one to hit him on. To quote Vance, saying that Trump is unfit for office. I don't know. Oh, God. I guess, at least they're getting the Israel shit out of the way right at the start. But, oh my God, dude. It's just the constant dick blowing of Israel is so insane to me. God. I will never understand it. What blackmail does this lobbyist group have on people in the government? I mean, what the fuck? Is the money that good? They don't even defend the military-industrial complex like this. Like, how intense is that AIPAC money? Good God. It's such an unpopular issue now, too. Like, you know, the last 10 years have been a steady decline in the pro-Israel sentiment in this country. And it's like, dude, y'all don't even talk about, I mean, the Democrats avoid the gun lobby for the most part, and a few of them are able to avoid glazing the military, but like all of them are just deep in that AIPAC money. It's crazy. I don't know if Tim Walz takes AIPAC money. This might just be the campaign telling him, do not fucking deviate off the Israel message that Kamala Harris believes. But like, why does the Biden, I know why Biden believes it, but why does Kamala believe in this shit? Like, what incentive does she have? Does she actually believe in all that stuff? Like, what's the motive there?
We've seen a calmness that is able to draw on the coalitions to bring them together, understanding that our allies matter. When our allies see Donald Trump turn towards Vladimir Putin, turn towards North Korea, when we start to see that type of fickleness around holding the coalitions together, we will stay committed. And as the vice president said today we will protect our forces and our allied forces, and there will be consequences.
Governor, your time is up. Senator Vance, the same question. Would you support or oppose a preemptive strike by Israel on Iran? You have 2 minutes.
So, Margaret, I want to answer the question. First of all, thanks, Governor. Thanks to CBS for hosting the debate. And thanks, most importantly, to the American people who are watching this evening and caring enough about this country to pay attention to this vice presidential debate. I want to answer the question, but I want to actually give an introduction to myself a little bit, because I recognize a lot of Americans don't know who either one of us are. I was raised in a working class family. My mother required food assistance for periods of her life. My grandmother required Social Security help to raise me. And she raised me in part because my own mother struggled with addiction for a big chunk of my early life. I went to college on the GI Bill after I enlisted in the Marine Corps and served in Iraq. And so I stand here asking to be your vice president with extraordinary gratitude.
Welfare queen. Moocher alert. Well, thanks for asking me that. I'm going to spend the next minute talking about how I mooched off the government for the entire first half of my life, and then some. And then I'm going to talk about why I want to rip all that shit away from everybody else.
For the American dream that made it possible for me to live my dreams. And most importantly, I know that a lot of you are worried.
Dude, he didn't put on the eyeliner today. Look. Where's the eyeliner? Doesn't this literally confirm that he wears eyeliner? Because he doesn't have it on in this.
About the chaos in the world and the feeling that the American dream is unattainable. I want to try to convince you tonight over the next 90 minutes that if we get better leadership in the White House, if we get Donald Trump back in the White House, the American dream is going to be attainable once again. Now, to answer this particular question, we have to remember that as much as Governor Walz just accused Donald Trump of being an agent of chaos, Donald Trump actually delivered stability in the world, and he did it by establishing effective deterrence. People were afraid of stepping out of line. Iran, which launched this attack, has received over $100 billion in unfrozen assets thanks to the Kamala Harris administration. What do they use that money for? They use it to buy weapons that they're now launching against our allies, and God forbid, potentially launching against the United States as well. Donald Trump recognized that for people to fear the United States, you needed peace through strength. They needed to recognize that if they got out of line, the United States global leadership would put stability and peace back in the world. Now, you asked about a preemptive strike, Margaret, and I want to answer the question. Look, it is up to Israel what they think they need to do to keep their country safe, and we should support our allies wherever they are when they're fighting the bad guys. I think that's the right approach to take with the Israel question.
Thank you, Senator. Governor Walz, do you care to respond to any of the allegations?
Well, look, Donald Trump was in office.
Didn't Trump destabilize that region? Like, even worse than it was already destabilized? Let's remember that Donald Trump is the... Dude, I have the allergy itch in my right eye. Let's remember who started this entire chain of events. the moving the embassy to Jerusalem, recognizing the Golan Heights being Israel's, and then destroying the Iran nuclear deal. Those are three major points. Oh, and I should also mention killing one of the top generals in Iran in the last year of his administration and bombing Syria as much as he did. 5 things that destabilized the region even further than it was already destabilized. That's the kind of strength, peace through strength that J.D. Vance is talking about.
Sometimes hear a revisionist history, but when Donald Trump was in office, it was Donald Trump who we had a coalition of nations that had boxed Iran's nuclear program in, the inability to advance it. Donald Trump pulled that program and put nothing else in its place. So Iran is closer to a nuclear weapon than they were before because of Donald Trump's fickle leadership. And when Iran shot down an American aircraft in international airspace, Donald Trump tweeted, because that's the standard diplomacy of Donald Trump. And when Iranian missiles did fall near U.S. troops and they received traumatic brain injuries, Donald Trump wrote it off as headaches. Look, our allies
did say
understand that.
He did say that. I do remember that. He did indeed say that it's just a little headache.
Donald Trump is fickle. He will go to whoever has the most flattery or where it makes sense to him. Steady leadership like you witnessed today, like you witnessed in April. Both Iranian attacks were repelled. Our coalition is strong, and we need the steady leadership that Kamala Harris is providing.
Senator Vance, the U.S. did have a diplomatic deal with Iran to temporarily pause parts of its nuclear program, and President Trump did exit that deal. He recently said, just 5 days ago, the U.S. must now make a diplomatic deal with Iran because the consequences are impossible. Did he make a mistake? You have 1 minute.
Well, first of all, Margaret, diplomacy is not a dirty word, but I think that's something that Governor Walz just said is quite extraordinary. You yourself just said Iran is as close to a nuclear weapon today as they have ever been. And Governor Walz, you blame Donald Trump. Who has been the vice president for the last 3.5 years? And the answer is your running mate, not mine. Donald Trump consistently made the world more secure. Now, we talk about what the sequence of events that led us to where
I'm sorry, but do you know how damaged the relationship with the U.S. and Iran was after, like, during the Trump administration after the nuclear deal was erased? What a damaged relationship we had with them was. And then once Trump left office, how irreparably damaged that relationship was. Why in the world would Iran re-enter another nuclear deal? We had no negotiating power at that point. And then there was a high likelihood that in the next administration, it'd be ripped right back away and it'd just be this song and dance bouncing back and forth. That's the problem with the way that we elect people in this country, is we keep going bing, 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 back and forth, every 4 to 8 years, back and forth. And then deals we had with some countries get ripped away and then reinstated with others, ripped away, reinstated with the old ones, ripped away. We invade some of these, we support some of these, and then we swing it back around the other direction every 8 years. And then we'll be funding this country while they're attacking this country, which we're also funding, which then we aid in the attacking of that country that we're funding. Then we turn around a few years later and bomb the original country that we're also funding. That's just the story of the Middle East and the U.S.'s relationship with it. Good luck reading into the history between the U.S. and the Middle East during the 20th century and even in the 21st century, because we just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Who's our allies? Who's our allies no more? How it just keeps swapping back and forth. So, yeah, good luck making another Iran nuclear deal under any administration at this point. They probably have already started making nukes. So good job, guys. Like, what do you even say to that?
we are right now, and you can't ignore October the 7th, which I appreciate Governor Walz bringing up. But when did Iran and Hamas and their proxies attack Israel? It was during the administration of Kamala Harris. So Governor Walz can criticize Donald Trump's tweets.
That's so stupid, by the way. During the administration of Kamala Harris. Also, I love that they are still like kind of subtly pushing that horseshit lie of them taking the seized money that they were given back, Iran taking that money and funneling it to Hamas, even though they hadn't even been given the money yet. And there's like no evidence that they had given the money to Hamas in the first place. There's actually way more evidence to show that Benjamin Netanyahu has given money to Hamas during the briefcase incident. So it's just such a funny thing that they keep pushing during all of this. Like, obviously the other Middle Eastern countries are going to attack Israel because they see Israel as now a major threat, because they see the way that they flattened out Gaza, how they've started bombing Lebanon, how at any moment they're just going to recapture Syria at this point. They see what kind of threat. Oh, and, you know, how they're beefing out with Yemen right now as well. They see what kind of threat Israel is at this point. That's why Iran has joined in with this. Also, Israel has been attacking Iran for a while now, expecting nothing in response, because they think Big Daddy USA is going to step in and help them. And honestly, that's what it's looking like right now. So,
but effective, smart diplomacy and peace through strength is how you bring stability back to a very broken world.
I just repeat the same bullshit point.
Before, ask yourself at home, when was the last time, I'm 40 years old, when was the last time that an American president didn't have a major conflict break out? The only answer is during the 4 years that Donald Trump was president.
Gentlemen, we have a lot to get to. Nora?
Margaret, thank you. Let's turn now to Hurricane Helene. The storm could become one
That's
of the
how you say it,
deadliest on
Helene?
record. More than 160 people are dead and hundreds more are missing. Scientists say climate change makes these hurricanes larger, stronger, and more deadly because of the historic rainfall. Senator Vance, according to CBS News polling, 7 in 10 Americans and more than 60% of Republicans under the age of 45 favor the U.S. taking steps to try and reduce climate change. Senator, what responsibility would the Trump administration have to try and reduce the impact of climate change? I'll give you 2 minutes.
Sure.
So well, first of all, let me get to this. I don't think that shit's real.
Let's start with the hurricane, because it's an unbelievable, unspeakable human tragedy. I just saw today, actually, a photograph of two grandparents on a roof with a 6-year-old child, and it was the last photograph ever taken of them because the roof collapsed and those innocent people lost their lives. And I'm sure Governor Walz joins me in saying our hearts go out to those innocent people, our prayers go out to them, and we want as robust and aggressive as a federal response as we can get to save as many lives as possible, and then, of course, afterwards, to help the people in those communities rebuild. I mean, these are communities that I love. Some of them I know very personally in Appalachia, all across the Southeast. They need their government to do their job, and I commit that when Donald Trump is president again, the government will put the citizens of this country first when they suffer from a disaster. And Nora, you asked.
I love this. I already talked about this, but the Trump administration withholding funds from Puerto Rico, withholding funds from North Carolina at the beginning of his administration, and then like there being probes into why they withheld the funds. I mean, this is just such a laughable point. He's just spewing at his ass right now. Oops.
It's about climate change. I think this is a very important issue. Look, a lot of people are justifiably worried about all these crazy weather patterns. I think it's important for us, first of all, to say Donald Trump and I support clean air, clean water. We want the environment to be cleaner and safer. But one of the things that I've noticed some of our Democratic friends talking a lot about is a concern about carbon emissions, this idea that carbon emissions drives all of the climate change. Well, let's just say that's true, just for the sake of argument, so we're not arguing about weird science. Let's just say that's true. Well, if you believe that, what would you want to do? The answer is that you'd want to reshore as much American manufacturing as possible, and you'd want to produce as much energy as possible in the United States of America, because we're the cleanest economy in the entire world. What have Kamala Harris's policies actually led to? More energy production in China, more manufacturing overseas,
her policies,
more doing business in some of the dirtiest parts of the entire world. And when I say that, I mean the amount of carbon emissions they're doing per unit of economic output. So if we actually
Bro keeps fucking up this shit. It's so funny. These dirty ass places in the world, and by that I mean the emissions they produce.
about getting cleaner air and cleaner water, the best thing to do is to double down and invest in American workers and the American people. And unfortunately, Kamala Harris has done exactly the opposite.
Governor Walz, you have 2 minutes to respond.
Well, we got close to an agreement because all those things are happening. Look, first of all, it is a horrific tragedy with this hurricane, and my heart goes out to the folks that are down there in contact with the governors. I serve as co-chair of the Council of Governors as we work together.
We could just pass the Green New Deal.
Governors, no partisanship. They work together to
You
solve
could just
the
pass the
governors and
Green New
emergency
Deal.
responders on the ground.
Hey, Tim, you could just pass the Green New Deal. You could start advocating for the Green New Deal. The administration would just fall in line because they would realize it's a popular policy position. You could start promoting the Green New Deal. That'd be so chill, Tim. Hey, Tim, wouldn't it be so chill if you started promoting the Green New Deal?
Those happen on the front end. The federal government comes in, makes sure they're there to that we recover, but we're still in that phase where we need to make sure that they're staying there, staying focused. Now, look, coming back to the climate change issue, there's no doubt this thing roared onto the scene faster and stronger than anything we've seen. Senator Vance has said that there's a climate problem in the past. Donald Trump called it a hoax and then joked that these things would make more beachfront property to be able to invest in.
Oh my God, yeah, he did say that. Oh, God. God, dude. Okay, bro brought the notes. Bro brought out the fucking notes. He has these quotes written down. Yeah. This hurricane hit parts of the country that were just not designed to withstand weather like this. And I've seen a bunch of climate articles come out now that have basically stated, like, we now know that no place in this country is safe from a natural disaster devastating devastating towns and like areas a little bit more inland that don't usually get hit by hurricanes. Yeah, this is like a huge wake-up call type of storm. At least JD Vance is like acknowledging climate change is real, which like he just said, Donald Trump doesn't believe in that fucking shit. He literally said we could put paper towels on Puerto Rico to dry it up. Like, be so for real. This is the wettest storm from the standpoint of water. Like, that's literally a almost direct quote of something Trump said during the Trump administration. It's one of those Trumpisms. During the trial run administration where he wasn't as scary, at least up until the last year of it. Which is why, like, I know this second administration is going to be far more unhinged. He knows he doesn't have to be reelected again if he won this one. So,
what we've seen out of the Harris administration now, the Biden-Harris administration, is we've seen this investment. We've seen massive investments, the biggest in global history.
Talking about the infrastructure
bill.
bill.
The Inflation Reduction Act has created jobs all across the country. 2,000 in Jeffersonville, Ohio, taking.
I'll get to it in a second.
That we invented and making it here. 200,000 jobs across the country. The largest solar manufacturing plant in North America sits in Minnesota. But my farmers know climate change is real. They've seen 500-year droughts, 500-year floods back to back. But what they're doing is adapting, and this has allowed them to tell me, look, I harvest corn, I harvest soybean, and I harvest wind. We are producing more natural gas and more oil at any time than we ever have. We're also producing more clean energy. So the solution for us is to continue to move forward, that climate change is real. Reducing our impact is absolutely critical, but this is not a false choice. You can do that at the same time you're creating the jobs that we're seeing all across the country.
Why did he bring up... Okay, I'm going to stop watching after this, but why did he bring up we're producing oil? That's literally what causes climate change. What was the point of bringing that one up? Dude, he fumbled a little too much during this, from what I've read at least. So I was gonna say, I passed by a gas station. Gas, for the normal unleaded. Last week, it was like the lowest I had seen it in years. It was, excuse me, it was $2.95 a gallon in my city, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Wow. Under $3? Finally. It's been like $3.50 for like a year and a half. passed by a gas station today. $2.65 a gallon. What? I haven't seen those numbers since I went to Alabama. Dude, that shit was cheap. I was like, damn, I bet it's like $2 in Alabama. Maybe I drive all the way to Alabama to get gas. Fill up a bunch of canisters with gallons of gas. So yeah, so I was gonna point out, JD Vance appeared pretty normal in this debate. I think the campaign told him to dial it back a little bit. Of course, Trump doesn't listen to anybody, so he hasn't been dialing it back, but I believe the campaign has told JD Vance to chill the fuck out a little bit, especially after the Haitian migrant flub. And it seems to me he seemed pretty normal in this debate. And compared to Trump, he looks insanely normal. And so I think it's safe for me to say that I think if they had just gone with JD Vance as the Republican nominee from the start, and they had ran him against Biden and the Democrats never pulled Biden off the ticket, I think he would have won a pretty significant way. I think he would have smashed this election. Now, if it was they had ripped Biden off the ticket and replaced him with Kamala, and it was a Kamala v. JD Vance type of race, I can still see Vance squeezing a win out of that. I could see the race being the closest we've ever seen. Especially since it seems right now that Kamala has good popular vote numbers and not so great electoral numbers. Although she's still projected to more than likely be the winner. I think Vance would have had a much higher chance than I'm comfortable admitting, chance of winning the election if he was the nominee. But, fortunately for the Democrats, the Republican nominee is Donald Trump again, someone who has already lost to the Democrats once and has gotten arguably more unhinged and crazy since. Him and JD have basically almost cost them Ohio in this election. And if it wasn't for the Democrats' inability to criticize Israel, then like Michigan would have been in the bag if the Democrats were to criticize Israel. But I think the Trump campaign has made their chances of winning Ohio a little slimmer because of the Haitian migrant fiasco. We could even pull up the electoral map. Do a little bit of prediction casting right now. Ooh, I can do the 538 forecast? Okay, I see you. Let's do this. So here's the 538 forecast. The 538 forecast. So let's say that she wins North Carolina, which she has a decent chance of. Let's say she wins Pennsylvania. So that already guarantees her the win. Let's say she loses Wisconsin. Still barely squeaking by. We'll say she wins Arizona. Let's say that she wins Ohio, though. I want to see how that affects the election results. Now, I will say, I think Georgia has a significant chance of going red. So I'm going to wipe that one off the board. Let's just say that Trump wins Nevada. Why not? Let's give him one. She has a decent chance of barely squeaking over the finish line. But that's me counting Ohio. Without Ohio, she still has a decent chance of winning. How depressing is that? This just red band whipping across the country like that. How depressing is that? Now look, if she doesn't win Pennsylvania, she's fucked. And he wins by the slimmest majority. He literally hits the direct number you need to hit. If this is the election outcome, then, I mean, my God, what a failure of a campaign. But, like, all she needs is Pennsylvania or Wisconsin or Georgia or Nevada. But if she loses all of those, she loses by 2 electoral votes. So yeah. The only reason I would put, so I think this is my realistic election projection. What other state was I going to turn? This is my realistic one. And the only reason why I don't turn Georgia blue, and I would make this one purple if I had the option to. I wish I could. I don't think it's going to let me. Right? It's not going to let me, is it? Yeah, it doesn't look like it'll let me. I'm going to keep Nevada red for right now, but the only reason why I don't make Georgia blue, I don't know. Like, Raphael Warnock won his Senate re-election and the runoff because Herschel Walker was such a historically shit-ass candidate. And in that same election, the top of the ticket, Kemp v. Abrams, Kemp won by, like, a huge margin. So, like, I want to say that Harris would win the state of Georgia. Unfortunately, I don't think she will. And I think that it's just a testament to how sexist the people in Georgia are. Like, the Republicans are in Georgia. I think if she was a black man, she would have had a higher chance, like Raphael Warnock. I think if she was just a regular old white guy like Joe Biden, definitely would have won, because Biden won this state. I think the Republican voters in the state of Georgia are just too misogynistic to vote for her. And also, I think too many Republicans have moved here. A lot of Texas and California transplants have moved to Georgia, I've noticed. So unless the Fulton County and Athens and Columbus and Savannah area expands greatly in their Democrat voting pool, I think there's a real significant chance that she doesn't win the state of Georgia. So yeah, here, let me come back to it. This is my prediction for the election. This is my map prediction. Can I save this map? Review and share. Ooh. Copy the link. So yeah, keep that in mind when the election rolls around. You know. Because I have a feeling that's the result that will happen in the election. Because, like, it would be pretty hard for her to lose the... it'd be pretty hard, right? For her to lose another key state. Hold on. I'm bookmarking it for November, which is in like a month. Let's look at the key races on here. So I did mark Arizona blue, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. She'd have to lose Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. She could lose Wisconsin and North Carolina and still win the election. I did see where somebody said that they predict that she'll win like Oklahoma or some shit. I was like, what kind of crack are you smoking? No way. If she wins Oklahoma, she's winning fucking Texas. Let's be so real. That would never happen though. She'd have to lose 2 more key races, North Carolina and Wisconsin, and she'd still be 1 electoral vote over the line. Then she'd have to lose fracking HQ, Pennsylvania, and then she would be dropped under the line heavily. But then if she wins Georgia, she still loses. She wins Nevada, she would win by a hair. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, it's dependent on these key states. I'm going to predict that she won't win Nevada. I'm sure that's probably one of the few bold predictions of mine on here. Another one being, I think she'll lose Georgia. I think she'll win Michigan, which is why I didn't even touch it. She might win Arizona. She might win North Carolina because the governor race in that state is probably going to be the Democrats, since Mark Robinson is such a disgusting freak, a disgusting Nazi freak, that he's probably cost the Republicans another governor election. So I think the Democrats have a solid chance of winning this state. If they didn't, she would still win the election. I think she'll win Pennsylvania. We love fracking. I mean, she keeps talking about fucking fracking. Let's be real. And I think she'll win Wisconsin. If she doesn't win Wisconsin, it's not a big deal. If she wins all the key states, then she smashed the election. But I think these are the 2 states she's going to lose. So that's my prediction. Bold. Ooh, my local Chick-fil-A sent me a chicken sandwich. Very nice. Thank you so much, my local Chick-fil-A. Anywho. So let's move on. Yeah, let me stop yapping about the election. The New York City mayor is the first sitting New York City mayor to be indicted. Eric Adams is the first sitting mayor of that city to be indicted, which is hilarious that there has to be that kind of qualifier on it, that so many other mayors have been indicted, that he's the first sitting one to be indicted. The DOJ filed charges against him because they've indicted him because he has been allegedly taking bribes from the Turkish government. They were bribing him because they wanted... he's been getting like business class seats and stuff like that. It's all because they wanted the NYFD to approve a building code on their building near the UN. And they wanted him to do it quicker. Like, they wanted him to speed it up so Erdogan could announce the grand opening while he was in New York for like some UN event. They also asked him to deny the Armenian genocide, which is just so pathetic and dumb. That they were like, and on top of the building thing, can you just randomly deny the Armenian genocide? He's also called New York City the Istanbul of New York. Oh, dude, it writes itself. The comedy writes itself. It's so funny. And it's so pathetic. And now he's like crying that the Democratic federal government is targeting him. The Republicans are siding with him. They're like, oh, they don't like how he handled the migrant crisis, because the Democrats love undocumented migrants invading the country, or whatever the fuck they say. And that's why they're indicting him. Nope, he just violated campaign finance law and violated other bribery laws and whatnot, allegedly. So yeah, they like allegedly donated money to him. during his campaign to do like the dumbest fucking shit of all time. It's so stupid. Also, he'll speed up a building code inspection. So yeah, I figured I'd mention that. I just think it's hilarious. It's like such a dumb story, and Eric Adams is such a nothing wet blanket of a mayor. Kind of crazy that you can say that he's like somewhat better than Bill de Blasio. I do know that he like out-primaried a good candidate for New York City mayor, because I remember I did not like Eric Adams very much. But yeah. Moving on. One last political thing. The LAPD raided a hospital because they smelled weed. And in the process, they destroyed an MRI, like a $4 million MRI. Part of this article says that at one point an officer walked into the MRI room, passed a sign warning that metal was prohibited inside, with his rifle dangling in his right hand with an unsecured strap, the lawsuit said. The MRI machine's magnetic force then allegedly sucked his rifle across the room, pinning it against the machine. MRI machines are tube-shaped scanners that use incredibly strong magnetic fields to create images of the brain, joints, bones, and other internal organs. There's a gnat flying around. An officer then allegedly pulled a sealed emergency release button that shut the MRI machine down, deactivating it and evaporating thousands of liters of helium gas and damaging the machine in the process. The officer then grabbed his rifle and left the room, leaving behind a magazine filled with bullets on the floor, according to the lawsuit. Imagine you conduct this unlawful raid on a hospital, and then you destroy a $4 million MRI machine in the process. And I said, I tweeted it, but my Twitter's private right now, so you can't even see it. I said that it should not be legal to conduct a raid based on such a nothing. Ooh, that's breaking news. Okay. We'll get to that in a minute. I said that if the evidence you're using for your probable cause to conduct a raid is as verifiable as I saw it in a dream, it should not be useful. It should not be enough evidence to justify probable cause. I've always said this. If you can't document it and you can only go off the word of the officer at the scene, then it should not be good enough evidence to conduct any search, any warrantless search, have any probable cause to make any arrest, conduct any raids. You know, if it's literally good enough evidence as it came to me in a dream once, what's your source? I made it up. If it's that level of verifiable, it should not be enough to conduct something that bypasses getting a search warrant or conducting a lawful arrest. So, that's my thoughts on that. So the reason why I said I would talk about breaking news. So the port workers the U.S. port workers are on strike, and people are bulk buying shit because they're panicking. And it says right here that they just agreed to end their strike. So that's pretty nice. So yeah, that's some pretty good breaking news. And we will move on to the fun, lighthearted topics right after this wonderful Patreon ad break. This episode is sponsored by the Forbidden Land Patreon, aka me. Head on over to patreon.com/forbiddenlandpod, and you can subscribe for $10 a month for the bonus content, some previews to upcoming stuff, and you get your very own Discord role. You can also subscribe for $3 a month and just get the Discord role, or you can just send me $1 once a month if you just feel like supporting in some way, shape, or form. You can also subscribe for $15 a month if you just simply like to provide more money to me for some reason. Or you can subscribe for $100 a month, which would just be you really wanting to send me $100. So go on over to patreon.com/forbiddenlandpod and subscribe for $10 a month if you'd like the bonus episodes and any kind of bonus content I decide to put up. All right, back to the episode. Welcome back to the podcast. So, some lighthearted news. Some fun stuff came out of Minecraft. Minecraft did their little live stream thing, and they released a clip from the Minecraft movie. So we're gonna watch it. I've already watched it, but I wanna show it and discuss it. So
this is a crafting table. Here's how it works. You place these.
I don't know why. Okay, I don't know why he has to be so Jack Black in this movie.
It's a crafting table.
Crafting table.
Here's how it works. You place these elements in different patterns, and you got yourself a sweet blade. You want to see a blade? I'll show you a blade. Yeah. Hammer. That's okay, bud. Buckets are useful here.
So I do have a couple questions. I've seen people speculate that he looks suspicious of Jason Momoa's character. So maybe Jason Momoa's character is Herobrine. I do like the subtle confirmation as well that the bucket thing is him being a cocky, arrogant shitbag who doesn't know how to craft things while Steve is showing him. But yeah, I just thought that scene was interesting. I don't know. I still feel like this movie's not going to be that good. And I feel like them releasing that clip was definitely a little bit of damage control. That felt like, somebody said it felt like a Super Bowl teaser clip. And I'm inclined to agree. So anyways, another news, 3-minute long YouTube shorts are now a thing. I gotta say, I don't care. I've always been under the belief that YouTube shorts being forced to be under a minute is what makes them appealing. TikTok, having long form content now is fine because they are now a direct video competitor to YouTube. It's short ish videos, sub 10 minutes. I believe they can be longer, but I don't see people doing that very often. Those types of TikToks don't do very well. But the ones that go as far as 10 minutes long, I've seen them do fairly well. And TikTok is now a realistic competitor to YouTube. YouTube Shorts being now possibly 3 minutes long, I don't see people watching a short past the minute. Because then what's the point? Just go and watch a fucking YouTube video at that point. And they're going to retroactively convert. Actually, I think they said in the press release that they wouldn't retroactively convert videos. It's future videos that are shorter than the 16:9 box. So potentially 4:3 videos that are less than 3 minutes long would now be considered shorts. I hope they give us the option to turn that on and off and not have all of our 4:3 videos automatically made into shorts if they're not long enough. Other than that, I just don't see it being a useful feature. I can see it being nice for videos that go over the minute mark by like a few seconds. Like one of my talking in the cars is longer than a minute, and I couldn't upload it as a short, which made me a little upset that I couldn't. So So now I can re-upload it as a short. But other than that, I can't see a 3-minute video being able to hold people's attention span as a YouTube short. What is this on my doc? I have funny tweet written on my doc. Oh. So these people were debating the usefulness of teachers' unions and homeschooling being a flawed system. And someone said, you're making a lot of assumptions about the educational value of a college degree, especially in a discipline as notoriously unserious as education. This person responded with possibly the best response I've ever seen in my entire life. He said, every teachers union should be allowed to pick one ungrateful fucker like you per year to torture to death over a live stream. The most important pillar of society, and some ancient Rome LARPer thinks they got it all wrong, and he's got the real answer. Your parents never loved you. I love this response. I love the idea of the teachers union being able to pick a random ungrateful former student and torturing them. That's just such a funny thing to say to someone. And the tweet is still up. That's the best part. It reminds me of that Cavo guy that was just straight up like, we're going to beat you to death with sticks. I fucking love that shit. I think I also even have an Eric Andre edit of that exact quote, like on the meme, but like cut off just enough. So yeah, anyways, moving on. Let's watch this car chase. Look at this guy just not getting out of the way because he can't. He didn't want to speed up or anything. I just want you to see how many people get endangered during this chase. Entering a densely populated intersection. Gonna try to pit him in the middle of traffic. Very responsible. I believe he does actually hit someone during this as well. Ooh, yeah, he hits that SUV right there. And then this SUV almost brake checks the shit out of the cop. It just goes to show how this dude better have been like on the FBI most wanted list to justify this chase. Because if it's over some stupid shit, the amount of people endangered during this chase, and you know, people are like, oh, well then the guy shouldn't have gotten into a chase. There's also some responsibility on the police to weigh the risk factor in something like this. Just damaged another vehicle, all the collateral damage during this, all the people that could have been killed during this. That's why I'm saying the charges had to have been like some 9/11 type shit. And he tries driving away. And then a truck blocks him in. And then he gets out the window.
Stop fighting! Stop fighting! Stop!
What were the charges? Like, what was the dude being chased for? Does anyone have an article in the comments? Honestly surprised he continued the chase. Seen quite a few close calls on the highway portion. I'm glad he got him in the end, though. That's US 19 in Clearwater, Florida. The stretch is so insane to drive. That's Florida? Oof. Yeah, but what was he being pulled over for? Yeah, I don't see any articles that give more context. God, I just wish I knew. I wish I knew. Yeah, like I said, there has to be like some crazy charges to justify a chase like that. So, moving on, the Krabby Patty is being made at Wendy's. That was my other fun little topic to talk about. They're making a Krabby Patty at Wendy's, and they are just posting the promotional instructions for how to make the Krabby Patty. And someone found the original photo poster where they link the video. I want to say I can watch the video because it's just a QR code that links to the video. Somebody found the QR code. I want to say that I can watch the video. I will watch the video. If it gets copyright claimed, you will not see it in the YouTube version of this. If it doesn't get claimed, then it'll be the same version across all platforms. But if it gets claimed, you'll see me watching the video on the Patreon. So hopefully it doesn't get claimed. But yeah, someone also showed what's in the secret Krabby Patty sauce. The secret Krabby Patty sauce. It's just a standard sauce. So yeah, we'll watch the training video on how to make the burger.
Da-da-da-da. Preparing the Krabby Patty cheeseburger.
I don't see why this would get claimed. It's just someone making the Krabby Patty. Nice. I mean, I would say that's pretty, that's a pretty normal way to make a burger. I don't really see what's so special about it. The Frosty that they came out with for the collab looks fucking great. I will say that one. 'Cause, like, that one, I think it's some, like, pineapple Frosty. That one I'll be trying. But I don't eat beef, so, like, I can't really, you know, I can't really try it. God, I don't know why it's so hard for me to, you know, get the point out. Good lord. What did this person say? My manager said it was fine since it's already public info. I'd get in trouble if it was unannounced or if I shared the WeLearn QR code. That's funny. That is weird that they can't share the QR code. It's just assembling the fucking burger. Someone just straight up dropped it in the damn replies. Yeah. Yeah, the video is so public now. I don't even see the big deal. It's just them assembling what's on the photo. That's such a weird... That would be so weird if I got claimed for that. For broadcasting that on here. So... Here's your fun fact of the episode. Sorry if I've been rambling a lot on this last segment. Your fun fact of the episode. On October 2nd... So when we streamed Forbidden FM, the spooky hour, why did I pick October 2nd to stream it? Well, one, because it was 2 days before Friday, which gives me enough time to chop it down and render it for the Forbidden Land Podcast YouTube channel, and for the audio episodes that go up on streaming. But also, that just happened to be a coincidence that it was super convenient. October 2nd is the 11-year anniversary of the main channel, the Dane channel that I post on, at Dane Makes Music on YouTube. That channel is now as old as I was when I was given permission to make it by my mom. But that now means I've been making YouTube content for almost half of my life. How insane is that? That channel is now 11 years old. That means in the coming months I will cross a threshold. In 3 months to be exact, I will cross a threshold where I will have been making YouTube videos longer than when I hadn't been making YouTube videos. How crazy is that? So that's your fun fact of the week. Another fact about me, I'll have another autistic one next time I do an episode. I don't know. Alright, thanks for watching. This has been Forbidden Land, episode 88. You can find us on streaming platforms like Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, your Samsung oven, perhaps. I don't know what other platforms we'd be on. Patreon. We are on Patreon. Remember that. We're on Patreon. I actually am curious. What other platforms would this podcast be on? Deezer. I know I removed it off of another platform somewhere. Yeah, we're on Apple Podcast, Samsung, Deezer, Amazon Music, Spotify, YouTube Music. So go listen. You can also find the RSS feed on our website if you want to add it to a podcasting app that is not on my list. So if that's something you want to do, the RSS feed is on the website. All right. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day, week, month, year, decade, millennia.